Descriptive statistics for retail data. In this lesson, you will learn how to use descriptive statistics to analyze retail and e-commerce datasets. Descriptive statistics help retail teams understand sales patterns, customer behaviors, and product performance. You will produce actionable insights such as average order value, best-selling products, and customer purchasing trends. These skills are essential for making data-driven sales, marketing, and inventory decisions. Running the cell now. We import pandas to help us work with data tables. We import NumPy to support numerical calculations. We import warnings so we can suppress warning messages. We turn off warnings to keep our output clean during exploration. Running the cell now. Try running the imports below and check that there are no errors. Understanding retail analytics data. Retail datasets reflect business activities, transactions, customer orders, product catalogs, and more. Transactions often describe individual purchases, including product codes, prices, and quantities. Key sales metrics include revenue, quantity sold, price, and customer details. Common mistakes include confusing total revenue with quantity or grouping data incorrectly by product or category. Running the cell now. We start by loading a real retail transactions dataset from the UCI machine learning repository. We specify the sheet containing retail data for 2010 to 2011. We convert the invoice date column so we can analyze sales over time. We print the dataset size so we can see how much data we have. We preview the first 3 transactions to check the data format. Running the cell now. This output shows the dataset has over 540,000 rows and 8 columns, reflecting extensive transaction records from 2010 to 2011. Key columns like quantity, price, and customer ID are visible, highlighting individual product sales linked to customers and dates. Notice the shape and preview confirm we're working with detailed, granular sales data essential for analyzing retail performance accurately. What columns do you notice in the dataset preview? Beginner example, counting unique products. Counting unique products helps identify assortment breadth. Knowing how many different products customers buy affects inventory and marketing choices. Running the cell now. We count the number of unique stock codes, which represent products. We print out how many different products were sold in this period. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are 4,070 unique products sold, which means the dataset contains a wide variety of items. Counting unique product codes helps us understand the overall assortment size, a key step for making informed inventory and marketing decisions. Try to explain why knowing unique product count matters for business decisions. Beginner example, total transactions. Counting total transactions gives a sense of business scale. This helps in understanding sales volumes and operational needs. Running the cell now. We count how many unique invoices exist in the dataset, each representing a retail transaction. We print the total count of unique transactions over the period. Running the cell now. This output shows there are 25,900 unique transactions, meaning 25,900 distinct invoices in the dataset. This count helps us understand the scale of the retail operations and how many separate sales events occurred, which is crucial for assessing overall sales volume and business activity. How could transaction volume shape staffing or store hours? Beginner example, simple revenue calculation. Revenue is a key metric for retail analysis. Multiplying quantity by price for each line gives the basic revenue per purchase. Running the cell now. We create a new column for revenue per line by multiplying quantity and price. We sum all line revenues to get the total revenue. We print the total revenue, rounded to 2 decimal places. Running the cell now. The output shows the total revenue generated from all purchases, calculated by multiplying the quantity and price for each item and then summing those values. This confirms that the code correctly aggregates line-level revenue into a single key metric, which is essential for understanding overall business performance in retail analysis. Practice: how would you calculate average revenue per transaction? Intermediate example: average order value (KOV). Average order value helps understand typical customer spending behavior. It is used to target promotions and set free shipping thresholds. Running the cell now. We group all transactions by invoice and sum the line revenue to get each order's total. We calculate the mean of order revenues to get the average order value. We print out the typical amount a customer spends per order. Running the cell now. This output shows that the typical customer spends about £376.36 per order, calculated by summing revenue per invoice and averaging across all invoices. Notice how grouping by invoiced and summing a line revenue captures total order value before averaging, directly supporting our goal of understanding average order value to inform pricing and promotion strategies. Why would knowing AOV help design loyalty programs? Intermediate example: top-selling products. Identifying top-selling products is critical for inventory planning. It informs buyers of what drives revenue. Running the cell now. We group by product description and sum the quantity to find total units sold per product. We print a header to show the top products. We print the top 5 products by unit sold, giving clear guidance on core inventory. Running the cell now. This output shows the top 5 best-selling products based on total units sold, highlighting which items generate the most demand. Notice the descending order, with World War II gliders ASSTD designs leading at 53,847 units, indicating its strong contribution to sales. This summary helps inventory planners focus on stocking high-demand products to maximize revenue. Can a product be a top seller and still generate low revenue? When might this happen? Intermediate example: product revenue analysis. Some products sell in high volume but contribute less revenue. This analysis shows which products generate the most money. Running the cell now. We group by product and sum up revenue per product for a financial view. We print a header so the results are clear. We print the top 5 products by total revenue. Running the cell now. The output lists the top 5 products ranked by total revenue, highlighting which items generate the most money despite volume differences. Notice how .com postage leads with over 206K in revenue, showing that a few key products contribute significantly to overall sales. This aligns with the lesson's intent to focus on revenue impact rather than just sales volume. Think of ways a store might promote these high-revenue items differently than top-volume sellers. Advanced example: sales by country. Retailers often sell internationally, so country-level insights support localization strategies. Comparing revenues by country uncovers regional strengths and weaknesses. Running the cell now. We group by country and sum the revenue to find international leaders. We print a header to name the metric shown. We print the top 5 countries by total revenue. Running the cell now. This output highlights total sales revenue by country, ranked to show the top 5 contributors. Notice that the United Kingdom vastly outsells other countries, signaling it as a key market, while the steep drop after that suggests where localization efforts might be most impactful. This confirms how grouping and summing by country reveal critical regional revenue differences for targeted sales strategies. Practice: which countries are below average? Could you target them for growth? Advanced example: monthly revenue trend analysis. Analyzing revenue trends over time reveals demand patterns and seasonality. Identifying peaks and troughs guides marketing campaigns and inventory stocking. Running the cell now. We extract the month from each invoice date to enable time grouping. We group and sum by month to get monthly total revenue. We print early months so we can spot early trends. Running the cell now. This output shows the total revenue for each month, summarized from the transactional data. Notice the fluctuations in monthly revenue, such as the high in December 2010 and dips in early 2011, highlighting potential seasonality and demand shifts. This aggregation sets the foundation for identifying key sales periods to optimize marketing and inventory decisions. This pattern helps you plan promotions or forecast for busy seasons. Advanced example: average items per transaction. Calculating items per transaction helps measure upselling and cross-selling success. It also uncovers whether large baskets or single-item purchases are more common. Running the cell now. We sum all items bought in each transaction. We calculate the mean number of items in customers' baskets. We print the average, indicating if most customers buy a lot or a little. Running the cell now. This output shows that, on average, each transaction contains about 200 items, indicating very large baskets. This highlights strong upselling or bulk purchasing trends in the dataset, aligning with our goal to understand customer buying behavior through average items per transaction. Are large baskets a desired outcome for your business model? Error handling example: missing values in revenue. Missing quantity or price leads to incorrect revenue calculations. This is a common issue when analyzing real-world sales data. Running the cell now. We filter for transaction lines missing either quantity or price. We print how many rows have these critical missing values. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are 0 rows with missing values in the quantity or price columns, meaning the dataset is complete for these key fields. In the context of error handling, this confirms that there are no missing values affecting revenue calculations here, so the data is clean for accurate analysis. This step is crucial to ensure that any revenue figures you compute are based on valid, non-missing input data. Practice: removing missing data will be needed for accurate revenue reporting. Error handling example: incorrect revenue aggregation. Forgetting to group by invoice before summing revenue can inflate result totals. Always check aggregation logic for business accuracy. Running the cell now. Here is an incorrect way: taking the mean revenue per invoice, and then summing those means. We print the incorrect result, which will be lower than actual revenue. We print the correct total, as calculated earlier, to show the difference. Always verify your groupings to avoid missing or double counting data. Running the cell now. The output highlights a common error in revenue aggregation: taking the mean revenue per invoice and then summing it, which drastically underestimates the total revenue at $524,789.31 instead of the correct $9,747,765.93. Notice how improper grouping distorts the total, emphasizing the lesson's point to carefully verify aggregation logic aligns with the business question. This reinforces why grouping by invoice before summing is crucial to avoid misleading results. Tip: imagine how this mistake could affect revenue reporting to executives. Best practices in retail analytics. Use customer segmentation to tailor marketing and promotions. Analyze product performance both in sales volume and revenue. Apply market basket analysis to reveal common product pairings. Use time trends, daily, weekly, monthly, to anticipate demand spikes. Check for missing values or data outliers before reporting. Running the cell now. Advanced practice: customer segmentation by spend. Segmenting customers by total spend lets you identify VIPs and regulars. Focusing on top segments drives higher revenue per marketing dollar. Running the cell now. We group transactions by customer and sum their total spending. We identify the top 5% of customers based on spend as high value. We print how many customers are in this top revenue segment. Running the cell now. This output shows that 219 customers fall into the top 5% of total spend, as calculated by summing each customer's purchase revenue. Notice how the code segments high-value customers by focusing on those whose spend exceeds the 95th percentile, highlighting the VIP group crucial for targeted marketing efforts. This step reinforces the lesson's goal of identifying key customer segments to prioritize for maximizing revenue impact. Suggest, how might the business reward or retain VIP customers? Advanced practice, product category performance, using synthetic dataset. Analyzing performance by product category aids assortment planning. Let us simulate a product catalog to show category analytics. Running the cell now. We use NumPy and Pandas to simulate a typical product catalog. We define common product categories found in stores. We create product IDs for 100 products. We randomly assign products to categories for realism. We randomly set product prices between 5 and 500. We assemble a data frame to mimic a catalog table. We display the first few products in our synthetic catalog. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 3 rows of our synthetic product catalog, displaying unique product IDs, their assigned categories, and prices. Notice the variety in categories and prices, which sets the stage for analyzing category performance in terms of pricing and assortment. This table confirms that our simulated dataset is correctly structured for further category-level analysis. Practice, add a column for stock level and see how it affects category strategies. Intermediate practice, market basket transaction simulation. Simulating baskets reveals which products customers commonly buy together. This is useful for cross-selling and product placement decisions. Running the cell now. We list several common grocery products. We simulate 300 transactions, with each transaction having 3 items. We randomly assign products to each purchase line. We build the market basket dataset with a transaction ID and product for each item. We display the top of our sample data. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 3 items in a simulated market basket for transaction 1, containing butter, eggs, and bread. Notice how each transaction ID groups exactly 3 products, reflecting the code's intent to model baskets with 3 items each. This setup helps us analyze which products commonly appear together in customer purchases. Try, count unique product pairs within a transaction for basket insights. End-to-end example, find the top 3 revenue-generating products. This small project takes raw retail transaction data to a clear answer. Finding best sellers is crucial for promotions, supplier deals, and restocking priorities. Running the cell now. We group transaction lines by product name and sum their total revenue. We print a header for clarity. We enumerate the results so each product is ranked. We print each product with its total revenue, ready for business decisions. Running the cell now. This output lists the top 3 products generating the most revenue by summing total sales per item and sorting them in descending order. Notice how .com postage leads significantly, highlighting its major contribution to overall sales. This step effectively identifies best sellers, guiding targeted promotions and inventory decisions. Congratulations! You just completed a practical retail analytics journey. Subscribe for more hands-on tutorials at https://youtube.com/@retail-data-lab. Practice prompt. Try to use what you have learned by modifying revenue calculations for specific months or products. Explore further with other public datasets, and check out more analytics tips on our YouTube channel. Running the cell now.